Hey there, comic book community. My name is Joe, and you're watching 360 Comics. Recently, I purchased a collection comprised completely of comics from the early 2000s. There were titles that have links to television shows, movies, and even video games. Tons of awesome keys, so stay tuned to see what I got. We are less than 100 followers away from our goal of 7,000 followers over on Instagram, at which point we'll be giving away this Batman 429. If you haven't entered yet, now is the time to do so because I'll be picking a winner in probably about a week, and at that point, I'll be announcing our 2,000 subscriber giveaway right here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up for a like and leave a comment down below. Your support is much appreciated. Quick little background on this collection before we get into the keys. Judging by what I found, it seems like this collector was purchasing comics from about 2003 to 2007, and mostly the current stuff that was coming out at that time. Not a lot of back issues, just a couple of books from the 90s sprinkled in there, but really not a lot at all. They also were definitely attending Free Comic Book Day a lot because there were tons of free comic book day books, some of which actually end up being pretty significant keys, and you'll see them later in this video. They also definitely gravitated towards movie, television show, video game properties, which is really cool to see because some of those books have really low print runs and end up being pretty expensive. We'll get to that in a bit. Let's dive into the keys. As mentioned, Free Comic Book Day books were plentiful in this collection, and this one right here is one of the best that you can find out there. We've got Amazing Spider-Man Free Comic Book Day Giveaway 2007. Now, this is a double key. It's the first appearance of Jackpot and Mr. Negative, and this is a book that I've spoken about on the mic many times. Not only have I put this on my own speculation list as a great book to pick up and hold for the future of the Spider-Verse and the MCU, but I've also found this book in dollar bins before because it says Free Comic Book Day on it. Most people think it's worthless. It is definitely not. In fact, raw copies reach up to around like 40 or 50 bucks, and graded 9.8s are a couple hundred because it's a tough book to find in a high grade. One, because of the white cover, and two, because it was given away for free. Most people do not take care of their Free Comic Book Day stuff. But as we're learning, some of those do come out to be pretty significant keys later on. So, take care of your books. That's all I got to say about that. This is a great one. I'm really happy to have another copy to put in my speculation box. This next one here, and you see the COA on the back, I'll explain that in a second, is Spider-Man Revenge of the Green Goblin #1. This is the first book of a 3-part miniseries, and this is an exclusive variant by Dynamic Forces. Dynamic Forces was doing tons of variants back in the late 90s, early 2000s. We got the DF sticker right here and the certificate of authenticity saying that this is one out of 5,000. They only printed 5,000 of these. Pretty cool to have that. I looked them up on eBay. This one's actually worth significantly more than the regular cover A. And yeah, just a great variant cover to have. Next up, we've got Venom vs. Carnage #1, and this is the first appearance of Pat Mulligan. This is a character who later becomes Toxin when infused with that symbiote. And in addition to that, I believe the character showed up in Let There Be Carnage. There was a police officer named Officer Mulligan. I don't think they ever mentioned his first name or anything like that. I think they're just kind of nodding towards that as something to possibly go towards in the future. Who knows how many more Venom movies there are going to be, if there are going to be any. Carnage was not really critically received, so I don't know what they're going to do, and Sony might eventually just sell things off to Disney. I'm not really sure. But anyway, first appearance of Pat Mulligan. He's not Toxin yet. I believe he does become Toxin in the next issue, certainly in this run somewhere. I believe it's the next issue. And speaking of Toxin, we've got Toxin #1, the first solo series of Toxin. This is issue 1 of a 6-part miniseries, and this cover is freaking cool. I love it. I really like this cover. This might stay in my personal collection just because I like the cover so much. Moving on, we've got Secret War #2. This is a 5-part Secret War, not Secret Wars, miniseries. And awesome Wolverine cover. We got a foil, gold foil trade dress up here, a black background, but even more so than what this book looks like, it is the first appearance of Quake, a character that has been speculated upon for the MCU. Rumors have been swirling that this character is going to be appearing in Secret Invasion, which I believe comes out next year, if I remember correctly. Really excited for that. I'm so stoked for that show. But anyway, rumors that Quake's showing up, who knows? Either way, great key and a phenomenal cover. You saw this book in the beginning. We've got The Hood #1. First appearance of The Hood. Parker Robbins is the name of the character. And not only that, but again, a character that has been speculated on for the MCU. There were rumors about this character showing up in Hawkeye. And now I believe it's, I forget if it's Miss Marvel or She-Hulk. One of those shows, I think, this character has been rumored to be maybe showing up at some point. So a lot of people really like the character. Definitely a more grisly, violent character than a lot of the normal Marvel stuff. But hey, I would definitely like to see this character adapted at some point. Then we got Amazing Fantasy #7. And in just my last video, I talked about this run of Amazing Fantasy, talking about book #1, the first appearance of Aranya. Well, this is the first appearance of the new Scorpion. This is Aranya's version of the Scorpion. Really awesome cover as well. Almost like, to me, looks kind of like anime art. I'm not a big anime guy, so I apologize if I'm way off on that. But to me, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, first appearance of the Scorpion. This is a book that had a really low print run, so it's kind of hard to find this one, no matter how much you look. And picking it up in a collection was a great way to get it, and looks like it's on the rise in value as well. Then we got Runaways #1. This is the first team appearance of the Runaways. And yeah, this is a team that's kind of been ongoing in the background. They're not like a super popular Marvel team, but they've been around here and there with series over the years, have a bunch of their own, solo titles and stuff like that. Maybe Disney will eventually kind of do something with these characters, but I'm going to be holding on to this book just as their first appearance. Definitely staying in the personal collection here. Moving on over to some horror stuff. We've got Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors, and this is the first of which is a television show first, then comic book kind of thing. One of those properties. We got Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horrors #10. These have come out every year since I think the 90s, comic-wise. And this one features Alice Cooper, Gene Simmons, Rob Zombie, and Pat Boone. And I think one of those do not fit really on the cover. But awesome book. I'm not a huge Simpsons fan, but there are definitely people out there that are. And definitely a lot of crossover between Simpsons and comics. So people will buy these books for sure. I'm going to pop these down, make some more room up here, because we're going into some more horror stuff. This is the real deal. Horror classic movies. We got Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Avatar Publishing. And the cool thing about this is a painted cover that is limited to 1,500 copies. This was the painted variant, which instead of being, drawn with pen and ink or digitally, these comic book covers were actually painted. And like I said, this is a 1 in 1,500 variant. Sorry, not 1 in 1,500, but there were 1,500 printed. There was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Nightmare on Elm Street. Same thing. Avatar, 1,500 printed of this painted cover. Really awesome looking books. Definitely something that a horror fan can latch on to. Now, this next one is staying in the PC for sure, because this is my favorite horror franchise of all time. We've got Saw Rebirth. This was a one-shot. This was the first appearance of Jigsaw and, the Saw characters, the Saw franchise in comic books. I believe this was a giveaway. I forget if you maybe if you bought the DVD or something, it was given away. I forget. But anyway, first appearance of Saw and Jigsaw in comics. Really awesome book. Really great cover depicting, something we see in the first movie. And yeah, I'm really happy to have this. Like I said, my favorite horror franchise ever. Then we got Devil's Rejects this is a one-shot, not really a number, but again, a movie turned into a comic book. This is a Rob Zombie property, and he wrote the comic book as well. There were actually a bunch of Rob Zombie comics in this collection, so I was happy to get those because I'm a fan. Then we got, I've found 30 Days of Night #2 right here. I found #3 in a collection a couple months ago. I've never found that #1 though, and I'd love it for my personal collection. But we got 30 Days of Night #2. This was a 3-issue limited series and one of just like the great horror franchises ever. Really awesome comic books and a lot of comic collectors that collect horror. As far as modern stuff goes, this is like the one that people really are into. So keep an eye out for the original ones. There was also a bunch of the later miniseries, not the original run, but other 30 Days of Night related runs. Then we've got Johnny the Homicidal Maniac #1. Now this is beat to shreds. It is not in good condition, and it is the 10th printing of the book. I believe there were like 14 printings or something, but nonetheless, it's going to be staying in the personal collection as a reader copy. The first printing in high grade is worth significant money, a couple $100, I believe. But this 10th printing beater copy, it's not, but I'm going to keep it as a reader to have because who doesn't love Johnny the Homicidal Maniac? For those who don't know, this was written by the guy who created Invader Zim. So, a little bit of his early work from the 90s before Invader Zim came out. Then we've got Walking Dead. We can't talk about horror comics without talking about Walking Dead, and there was a lot of early stuff in here. I was really excited to see that. We've got issue #9, the first appearance of Otis, and guess what? Not just one, but 2 copies of this book. Awesome one to have. Not in the greatest of shape. They're not like 9/8 contenders because they weren't in bags and boards. A lot of the stuff in this collection wasn't bagged and boarded or was bagged and not boarded. So yeah, not everything was perfectly taken care of. Anyway, we got #10 as well. This is a big key. This is the first appearance of Lacey, Maggie, and Herschel. Major characters in the Walking Dead franchise, especially concerning the television show. Great one right here. And then we've got #11. Believe this is the death of someone. Oh, this is the death of Lacey and Arnold? I think it's the death of Lacey and Arnold. And again, there were 2 copies of this book. Very surprised to see multiples. I'm not sure why. Maybe, I don't think anyone was specking on Walking Dead back in 2004, 2005, but maybe this person was. Next, we got #12. This is the first, I'm going to call it the first cameo appearance of the prison. It's not listed on Key Collector, but I know from reading this that the last page of the book is them looking over the hill and seeing the prison and saying, "We're home." I think that is a really significant, plot point in this story, and I'm surprised it's not listed on Key Collector. Then we've got #13, the first full appearance of the prison. This is when they're going in, exploring it, ridding it of zombies, all that stuff. And then another book from the prison run, #14. Those aren't listed as keys. None of those 3 are listed as keys, but I think they should be. At least number 12 and 13. Next, we've got Walking Dead #15. This is the last appearance of Shane. He's a zombie at this point, and he's shown for the last time in the comic books. There were 2 copies of this, and it's got this great motorcycle cover. I really like that. Then we've got Walking Dead 17. This is not listed as a key for a reason in the book, but rather just because it has a low print run. Same with #18. Again, a very low print run. These books were not super popular until really when the show came out. Then we've got Walking Dead #20. This is the issue where Alan is bit by a zombie. And then finally, #23. This is the issue where Alan finally succumbs to his bite and dies. Notice there's no number 19. It skipped 19, which is a bummer because that's the first appearance of Michonne. That is a major Walking Dead character, one of the most expensive Walking Dead books. Maybe, honestly, the most expensive other than like 1 and 2, I think. I think that Michonne's first appearance is probably the third most expensive book. Keeping with the Image and Kirkman theme, we've got Invincible, number 15. First appearance of Aquas. I don't know this character. I'm not familiar with Invincible stuff, but I've been told that I need to watch the show, so eventually I will get to it. Then we've got The Astounding Wolfman, number 1. This is the first appearance of Wolfman, and again, this is a Kirkman title. This is related to Invincible. In fact, this character does show up, I believe, in the comics, and is slotted to show up in the show. I believe it was teased or something like that. It said on Key Collector. I forget exactly, but again, I'm not super familiar with this, but keep an eye out for that book. And this is another free comic book day one. So one that you might find in a dollar bin somewhere. Next, we've got Fear Agent number 1. I believe this was optioned, but I don't think it's been like picked up or anything yet. I could be wrong about that though. This next one, though, was optioned and picked up. We got Cannon Busters, number 1. It had 1 season on Netflix, and I guess it didn't do too well. I don't know anything about it. It's anime, not really my thing, but yeah, apparently people are into it. Moving on to some Star Wars stuff from Dark Horse now. We've got Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, book number 1. This was a 4-issue miniseries chronicling what happened in Revenge of the Sith. And yeah, just a nice Dark Horse Star Wars book to pick up. And this next one's even better, though. And again, a free comic book day book. This is Free Comic Book Day 2004, I want to say. Doesn't say a year on there, but I believe this is from 2004, and it is Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures, a book written for kids. The books that have adventures in the name generally are kid-friendly stuff. And you can tell by the animation that this is a very kid-friendly book, but it's actually the first appearance of General Grievous in comic books ever. So not only was there 1, there was 2, and there was 3, and none of them are stamped. A lot of times comic book stores will stamp these free comic book day books as, extra advertisement and stuff like that. 3 unstamped copies of this book right here. That is something you don't see very often from the early 2000s. Nowadays, most stores are not stamping their stuff because they know people want the fresh and clean unstamped versions, high grade. The stamp definitely detracts from the grade and from the appearance of the book as well. This is hard to find from the early 2000s. I'm very excited that this collector was able to pick these up unstamped. Moving away from Star Wars, but sticking with Dark Horse, we've got a Mike Mignola book here, The Amazing Screw-On Head. I have no idea what this is, but apparently pretty popular. Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, an amazing creator. A lot of people really like his stuff, so maybe I'm going to give this one a read. It looks interesting to say the least. Speaking of Hellboy, we've got The Goon number 7, and this is a Dark Horse book with a Hellboy tie-in. And Hellboy collectors will collect anything Hellboy. He doesn't have a ton of appearances, so it's kind of easy to go off and collect his appearances in other things, such as this appearance in The Goon number 7 right here. This next one is one of my favorites. One of my favorite television shows of the past bunch of years, Umbrella Academy. This, again, is the free comic book day version, which was the first ever appearance of the Umbrella Academy and all the characters within. I'm a huge fan of this television show. I'm a massive fan of Gerard Way, the writer's band, My Chemical Romance. So this is something that is sticking with me. Unfortunately, it is not anywhere near close to high grade. In fact, it looked like it got some water damage up in this corner. It's kind of crinkly. Might be able to press it out, but it still has some spine ticks on it. So happy to have it in the PC nonetheless. Great book, great show if you haven't watched it yet. And I think, are they going to do a season 3? I think the pandemic really cut into that. This next one is Batman, Harley, and Ivy, and this was a mini series. So we've got number 1, number 2, And number 3, and if you recognize the art at all, it was done by none other than Bruce Timm, and he is known for, Batman animated series and Batman Beyond as well, and just doing this fantastic animated series art, and he took that to the comic books here. This is a really nice miniseries. I was looking on eBay and they sell for like $30 to $40 for just the 3-issue miniseries. And there were 2 copies of number 1 in this collection. Some of the only DC books, and it was a hit. Looks great. Then we've got a video game franchise here, a miniseries, 3 issues, Devil May Cry, number 1, 2, and 3. This is an awesome game for those of you who haven't played, but definitely a cool crossover into comics. And I don't even know what publisher this is. DW. Oh, DreamWorks. So DreamWorks had this one. I don't even know if DreamWorks is a company anymore. I think they might be defunct at this point, but nonetheless, Devil May Cry. This is the first Devil May Cry appearance in comic books. First appearance of Dante and all those characters. And last but not least, we've got the last video game franchise. That's not issue number 1. This is wrong order. Castlevania, the Belmont Legacy. This is the first Castlevania comic book ever. Look at this freaking awesome cover right here. And also for number 2, very, very indicative of the vibes of the video game. If you haven't played Castlevania, I definitely suggest you play them. There's a ton of different ones, ranging from, I guess, back in the SNES days all the way till, I don't know when the most recent one was because I don't really play video games anymore. But nonetheless, Castlevania, really great stuff. These are really, I guess they were low print run, and since people collect video game stuff now, They were selling on eBay. I saw this one, just issue number 1, sell for $40, and I saw the set sell for, I think, $75 or something like that. So this is just a great thing to pick up. Unfortunately, these are not super, super high grade or anything like that. Otherwise, I would probably be sending them off to get graded, but still some great stuff from a video game franchise. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a lot of different stuff that I've never shown in videos before. There were, in fact, very few books that I've had in other videos. Personally, my favorite thing would probably be the maybe the Johnny the Homicidal Maniac or the Umbrella Academy book. I'll pull that out right here. Yeah, this one might be my favorite of which I found in this collection. But nonetheless, great stuff all around. So a very diverse group of comic books, mostly indie stuff, and really happy to have picked this up. It's gonna, fill my personal collection as well as add some stuff to future claim sales and things like that. Give this video a thumbs up for a like. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.